Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine last year. The NATO nations and other partners regard the war as unprovoked and unjustified. Allies led by the United States have sent billions of dollars of armaments to Kiev. The United States and NATO also have increased their military presence in Central and Eastern Europe. Speaking at the Munich conference, the U.S. Vice President hit out at Moscow. It marked the first time the United States formally designated Russia's actions in Ukraine as crimes against humanity. Kamala Harris said the Russian forces have conducted widespread and systemic attacks on Ukraine's civilians. She listed a litany of abuses that she said were carried out by Moscow's forces in Ukraine, including murder, rape, and torture.
From the starting days of this unprovoked war, we have witnessed Russian forces engage in horrendous atrocities and war crimes. Their actions are an assault on our common values.
Ukraine says it needs more weapons to mount an effective counter-offensive in the embattled east. Joe Biden aims to sustain a coalition that has supported Kiev's defenses. Apart from military aid, the U.S. and the United Kingdom, among others, have coordinated efforts to impose sanctions on Russia. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said the West must continue to help Ukraine save its cities from Russian jets and Iranian drones. UK has already trained 10,000 Ukrainian troops to battle readiness over the past 6 months. The country will train a further 20,000 Ukrainian troops this year. The UK says new training will ensure pilots are able to fly sophisticated NATO standard fighter jets in the future. Sunak also batted for constructive ties between the EU and the UK. The UK left the EU on the 31st of January 2020. The rules governing the new relationship between the EU and the UK took effect on the 1st of January 2021.
From Georgia to Moldova, Russia has committed.
Now, for more on this, we are being joined by our correspondent Anas Malik from Munich. Hello to you, Anas. We earlier heard from U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, and her address marked the first time that the United States formally designated Russia's actions in Ukraine as crimes against humanity. Take us through the significance of these comments.
Well, indeed, they are very significant. When Kamala Harris took the stage, the first words she said is, "Kyiv is standing," and that was followed by a huge round of applause. By and large, in our previous conversations as well, we've said that the discourse of the conversation here in the Munich Security Conference has been dominated by the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and it was just further on, the comments by the U.S. Vice President was a reiteration of that. In fact, she went on and said and credited it as classified it as crimes against humanity. I think that is something that would have graver ramifications, because whether or not the US would move to designate Russia at the UN under this, remember Russia has a table at the UN Security Council as well, so whether there would be a veto on it, whether there would be a consensus, lots of questions there that remain unanswered at this point of time. But the other big takeaway is that the former Chinese foreign minister who was leading the Chinese delegation, Wang Yi, he has a short while back departed from the Bayerischer Hof Hotel, that's right behind me, where the Munich Security Conference is currently ongoing. So it would be safe to assume that there was no formal contact or interaction, or even informal, here at the Munich Security Conference or on the sidelines of it, between the US side and the Chinese side, something that was much being tipped off or being speculated about. Alison?
Right, and Anas, the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak also addressed the MSC. UK says that new training will ensure pilots from Ukraine are able to fly the sophisticated NATO standard fighter jets in future. Does this mean that the Ukraine will be supported with its requests for jets?
again, that's a bigger question, and that's a question mark. But I think the answer to that would be known in roughly about 1.5 hours, when the U.S. Secretary of State, the German Foreign Minister and Baerbock, and the Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba take the stage here at the Munich Security Conference, and they share their thoughts as to whether or not there would be jets that would be handed over to Ukraine to be equipped, to be better equipped to fight this war or to fight this Russian aggression. I think the answer to that would be known in a short while from now. But a lot of the international press alongside us, they have just one question when we meet the US side, and that is, will there be F-16s to Ukraine? We've previously heard from the US President Joe Biden, and that was the answer was a flat-out no. But will there be a change of thought in Washington, or would it just limit to lip service and put it on aid? The answer to that would be known in a very short while from now. Alison.
Anas, thank you for keeping us updated, and you will of course be following developments at the MSC. We are now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.